I'm Rosie Hardy. This is Rosie Hardy Gardening.
Have you ever wondered if the plant identification apps that you use on your phone are actually any good? Are they going to let you know exactly what plant you're looking at? Today I'm going to put them to the test. We are challenging them with a selection of plants that range from well-known to slightly more obscure. And to make it a little bit extra difficult, we're going to do this in late autumn, when most of them will not have flowers. And in fact, one of them doesn't have any leaves either, so it's just identification via bark and buds.
So I'm going to have a little look at Google Lens, I'm going to have a little look at Apple Plant ID, and then one of the paid for ones, and that is PictureThis Plant ID, which is the most bought and used app off the internet.
Just want to note, before we get started, that we have not been paid by any of these companies to promote these apps.
Let's see how the apps get on. I have done a very simple little table here and I'm going to mark them. Will it get the genus? Will it get the species? Will it get the variety if there is a flower there and it's possible to do that? Here we go. Let's start off. This should be easy for the app. This is Alchemilla mollis. Alchemilla mollis is a fantastic garden plant. It just grows, does its own thing, seeds around, grows in all sorts of nooks and crannies, in areas and that sort of thing. Very often that you see this, they get these wonderful water droplets all around the edge of the leaves. This is called gutation and it's absolutely beautiful. And also after the rain, these leaves just look fabulous with raindrops on them. Now, yes, they make large clumps. They probably get to 45 centimetres, 18 inches by 45 centimetres, 18 inches with the foliage, maybe the flower on top of there. The flower is probably exactly the same colour as my coat here. It's a beautiful limey yellow, and on top of this green foliage, it's just frothy over the top. I love it. Grows in shade, grows in sun, grows in cracks in pavings. Yes, it seeds around and people think, oh my goodness, it's just a thug. It grows and gets quite large clumps. It's easy to lift and divide. It's easy to stop its seeding. As soon as the flower starts to turn anything other than this yellow and go slightly brown, cut it all off. Trim the plant right the way back down to ground level after it finishes flowering. It comes back onto leaf, beautifully tidy, lovely leaf mounds, absolutely easy. And if it does it again, trim it back down. It will just keep on coming back and it will rebloom. Let's see how the app works with this. We're going to test Google Lens. So we have Google there, we hit Google. I've already got it open, so it basically comes up. You can take a photograph. So I think probably a reasonable photograph like that. When we take the thing, what is it going to come up with? Well, its first searches say Alchemilla vulgaris, garden ladies mantle, ladies mantles. So part of the way there, but it is not showing me Alchemilla mollis. So that is the first one with Google Lens. With Apple ID, you take the individual photographs. So you take your photograph and then you swipe up and then you go to look up plant, and that is coming up with the results. Ladies mantle, Alchemilla mollis, absolutely spot on the money. So we are going to use the final app that we've got, which is PictureThis. PictureThis app does it in slightly different way. We're on identify, so basically got your plant here, take a picture, and it doesn't want it too close, so you get a nice picture like that. You press identify, it scans it through, and then it comes up. This time it's gone ladies mantle, Alchemilla, Alchemilla mollis. Absolutely fine with that one. Now I'm being a bit sneaky now because I'm doing another form of Alchemilla, and it'll be interesting to see whether the apps can pick this up when we go to actually looking at it. So this is Alchemilla saxitalis. This is a lovely plant. This is basically semi-evergreen. It does spread out as low, it doesn't go too tall and goes out sideways. There's still a little bit of flower on this, and it's green, the flower on this, but the foliage is beautiful. The foliage has got this amazing hairy edges to it, and if you turn over, the reverses are beautifully silver. So they are amazing silver reverses to the leaves like that. And this silver edge, it's all hairs, and it's just a really beautiful thing. So it looks as though it's got a line of variegation all over the top of it. This will make probably a plant around about 18 inches up to 60 centimeters, so 45 to 60 centimeters, 18 inches to 2 foot that way, and then foliage at just under a foot, and then with the flowers on top probably up to the 18 inches again, but probably just a fraction shorter. The flowers are not as big and heavy as they are on Alchemilla mollis. It is a much more delicate, a much more beautiful plant. It's not often offered, but I think it should be seen more often by people because it is semi-evergreen and because the foliage is really good, and it is not as much of a thug as its cousin is. So let's see how the apps do with this one. We've now back on to Google Lens, and we're going to take this as the foliage to start off with. It's come up with Alchemilla. It's come up with alpine Alchemilla. It's come up with conjuncta. It's not doing very well with these. Let's see what happens if we do it with a bit of flower. It's coming up Alchemilla alpina when you add the flower. Second one that we've got here, swipe up, look up plant. Again, it's going to Alchemilla alpina as its first lot of results. It's not doing anything else. So near enough, slightly, I don't know, probably on a par with Google for that one. So we're going to take a picture so it gets a full scan of the growth of the plant as well as the leaves, and identify, takes a picture, scans it through, going to come back with me, told me it's alpine lady's mantle. It is basically trying to tell me it's Alchemilla alpina, which is what other ones have said as well, but that's not quite right. Now, I said I had something which had got flower on it. We're right in the middle to the end of November. The herbaceous stuff is starting to die off. There's not a lot on there. But I thought one of the late season chrysanthemums would be ideal to see whether or not it can tell what this is. This is one of the last into flower. This is Chrysanthemum Julia Peterson. This is a really good, small flowered, but lots and lots of flower on this plant. This is just a small pot full. When they are fully grown, you'd expect at least 2 foot at the base, so that's 60 centimeters by at least 2 foot, if not up to 3 foot in height. So somewhere between 60 and 90 centimeters in height as well. And then just sprays of these amazing flowers. Brilliant as a cut flower, fantastic as a garden plant, really, really good. And this is flowering now, and it will carry on flowering right the way through till probably about middle of December. So it is a good late season plant for the garden. Totally hardy. You can see that it is spreading by lovely little growths here, and it holds itself up well. It has strong stems. So let's see how the apps get on with this one. So I'm going to take a picture of the flowers. Surely Google Lens must be able to understand what the flower is. Put it onto the flower like so, take a picture. It's come up with garden roses. That's got to be ridiculous. Trying it from a different angle. Hurrah! It's come up with chrysanthemum. That isn't too bad. I'm happy with that. So swipe up for this, look up plant, and it has initially said it's a geranium, then it has said it's florist daisy, which is chrysanthemum. That is fine. So I'm not really happy with that one. I would have thought it would have done that better. Let's see what it does with that. This would be too close. It doesn't like it really close up. So you've got to go back and away from it, have it within the square, and then press identify. It will go through, take a scan, and hey presto, it's come up with a garden mum, come up with a hardy garden mum, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. It hasn't got the exact variety, but I'm happy with that. Then we're going to make it a little bit more difficult. We've got something here which is for full sun with grey foliage. So I've told you before, as soon as you see something grey hairy foliage, it's for full sun. This also is a Mediterranean plant, so it likes a free draining, quite a gritty sort of soil, and it'll be really, really nice. This is Sideritis syriaca, and it is a lovely thing. Now, this grows in the Greek islands, and it is used as a tea, a herbal tea. It's a really, really pretty thing. When you get growth at the base of the silver foliage, then it comes up into flower, and it comes up with lovely silver buds and then opens up into really beautiful yellowy green flowers on top of that. But free draining is key for this. Base of the plant no more than a foot, foliage no more than 6 inches, so that is 30 by about 15 centimetres, and then the flower up to about 18 inches, 45 centimetres. Now this one, I'm wondering if the app is going to be able to do something about this, because maybe, you know, it looks a little bit like a stachys, one or two things like that. So let's see how the apps get on with this one. So here we go. Tap it shutter. It's coming up with lamb's ear, and then it comes up with Sideritis syriaca. I am very impressed that it managed to get that as its second one. So up we go. Look up plant. Woolly hedge nettle, stachys. It's coming up with stachys all the time on here. It is not even thought about the Sideritis. So that is not very good on that one. So again, we're going to put that about there, and then we're going to get it to identify this, and backwards and forwards, up it comes, lamb's ears. Just what I thought this would probably come up with. It has come up with stachys. So it is not coming through with the correct one on that one. So I've started with something that should be easy, like the Alchemilla. I'm going on to things which are more unusual, just to see whether or not they actually can tell you what they are. So this one is Disporopsis pernyi. Disporopsis pernyi has had its flowers. The stems here are where the old flower stems were. It's got new growth coming at the bottom. It's got spotty stems here, lovely purple spots going up the stems. The foliage is going yellow because this is starting to die back. It's semi-evergreen. This will die back down, go completely yellow. It will defoliate, and then the new growth comes through. You wait until the new growth has come up, and then you would cut the old growth down, and then it flowers. It has the most fantastic perfume. This is a woodlander. It wants to go where there's lots of leaf litter. It wants a shady spot, and it will be a great plant. Disporopsis pernyi. So I'm waiting to see how the app copes with this one. Now let's see how it does with the Disporopsis. Now this is leaf dying down, so we're going to take a picture of the leaf. So we'll do the leaf like so, take a picture, and it isn't too sure. So if I take a picture like so, without showing the leaf stems and everything else, it gives me all sorts of house plants as the correct one. So I'm wondering if when you take a picture, you've got to show more than just the leaf. Let's try it again. So let's try this, showing a bit of the stem and the leaf like so, and see what it comes up with now. Straight away it goes to being Disporopsis. So that obviously shows you that if you know what it is, you can take a picture and fool it, but also you can take a picture which gives it much more idea of what it's looking at. So it's looking at the stems here, and it's looking at, you know, the old dead flower stems and the stems here, being able to give it a thing. But it's not actually giving me which Disporopsis it is, and it's still lower down. It's lower down all of these. It's giving me bedding houseplants, which is not what I'm looking at. Take another picture of this, showing more stem and thing. So we've got another picture. Let's swipe up, look at the plant and see what it says this time. It's gone Solomon seal and ginger. It's getting in the right direction, but not good enough. Then we have this one. Now, I did this in two ways, this plant, so I will do it two ways with this one. So we will look down like so, looking at the leaf. It's not going to like the colour of the leaf. So we just scan, looking down at the leaf shape and coming up. It has done very well. It's actually told me that it is evergreen Solomon seal or Disporopsis. That's absolutely fine. Hasn't got the species, but that's okay. We'll see whether taking it on the sideways, showing the dead flower stems and the lovely bronze markings at the bottom there, whether that makes any difference. So we'll get in at about that point with it and see if it can identify it more from the stem and the old dead flower. It's coming up with exactly the same species, so that didn't make any difference, but at least it got us the genus. And then I thought, well, why not do a shrub? At this time of the year, the shrubs are starting, if they are deciduous shrubs, they've done their beauty of giving you those wonderful colours of their foliage, and hey presto, down to this. Now, as a horticulturalist or people who grow in their gardens, you get to know what your plants look like without their leaves on. And so this one is a Cotinus, and it's always very easy to tell Cotinus. You're always getting this brown stem here with buds in rings going around it, and then you always get this new growth like this with lots and lots of buds going up with that slightly purple look to the stem there on this one. Now, I'm not expecting the app to be able to tell me what variety this is, because this one has golden leaves. How can it tell that from the fact that this is just a stem? But stem and bark and tree trunks are a really good way. If you know how to identify those, you get some way towards understanding how to identify your plant material. So this one, let's see how they get on. I had to take the picture further away, so it was looking at the background there. It's gone to all sorts of different shrubs. It really can't work that one out at all. So this is the Cotinus. It's struggling with the shrub. Look at plants. It's got me nettle spurge, it's got me hydrangea. It's still not getting to Cotinus. Okay, so he's come up us saying that it's edgeworthier. It isn't. It's, you know, each time I take a photograph of this, it comes up with different things, and none of the apps seem to be able to get my Cotinus correct.
So finally, the tally is Apple third with 5 points, PictureThis second with 6 points, Google Lens comes out on top with 7 points.
Well, that was quite an interesting experiment, really. At the end of the day, that PictureThis ID, actually, which you'd have to pay for, actually came out worse than Google Lens and Apple ID this plant. So I think a lot of it has to do with whether or not you picture them at the right angle, you give enough information within the picture that you do. It will also have to do with the size of the plant that you are doing, but very definitely none of them could identify the Cotinus from its bud or its stem. Maybe if it had been a bigger shrub, maybe that would have made a difference. So in conclusion, they are a good tool but they're not going to get you to the end point right the way through. I would say by all means use the apps for a generalization to get you to start you looking for things. It may not be the first one in their list, it may be the second or third, which is actually more to what the plant is that you're looking at. I hope you found this interesting. I had great fun doing it. Thank you very much for watching.